Good morning, everybody. Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. My buddy Rhett back there. Here's a nut for you, girl. And we are writing code. I don't know like if anybody watches like all of these videos and all that. I know it's a lot. I know it's not like the most like entertaining content, but if you do watch all of those, I think you might be aware that we've been working on I've been working on this project. I think it was 2025, right? I think it was the beginning of 2025 we started this. There was a 2024 where I spent the whole year, and then I think at the beginning of 2025 we started this project. And so that would make it, if I'm remembering properly, that would make it that we've been working on this for like 20 months. We probably the last 8 months didn't right move the project forward even one iota because I was just building all kinds of scenes, things to so that we can visualize or so we can see the values, see what's going on, and then went through all kinds of like rabbit holes on memory leaks and stuff like that. So it's been like 8 months since we moved forward, and yesterday was the first inch forward that this gigantic machine moved, and that was when we got this working. What's wild to me is I can actually, my brain actually add puts an animation in there because to me it looks like it actually grows and moves, even though it doesn't. I know it doesn't because I'd never built any animation in there. But the most important thing to keep in mind is that like this project just got stalled out. It was stalled out for almost a year, for like 8 months. Um, and um, and that's just kind of the way it goes. And now, even now that we're doing this, we haven't done, even to get this to work, we didn't do a single ThreeJS thing, right? Nothing has, it was all like Angular and JavaScript and Angular material and just CSS. There's almost no actual, we haven't even got to look at ThreeJS at all. And I think that, one of the things that is really obvious is that I underestimated the level of effort that this would take. And at this point, I would have bet a, a, a lot that I would already be able to at least interact with this in a text editor kind of way, like, you know, and be able to import and export, because that's something I wanted as early as possible, and I still haven't gotten there. I still think it's very doable. I think that, like, if we go to the data, let's see, data entities, and we add one of these things, like, this is all we need, right? This is everything we need to generate an animation. So there's no reason this can't all be like in a CSV or a JSON file. So I think I could still do it. Like that's kind of what that was the final blow in my other one, my other project my 2024 version of this was that I had gotten to where there was just absolutely no way to export or import. And that was just like heartbreaking because in that project, I actually built some amazingly cool visualizations that would take me like an hour to build it out. And then like it was just gone at the end of when I closed the screen, it was just gone. And there was no way to get it back except to go watch the old video and watch myself do it again. Um, Now, there was another alternative was I could have, and I really toyed with the idea, and maybe if I had known Cypress as well then as I do now, I might have gone this route, but I was strongly considering continuing to build it out as it was, but then build Cypress scripts that would build out visualization. So then I could just build on a visualization, start where I left off, um, But anyway, so now what do we have left? Okay, so that works, right? This seems like it works. It's like ship it, but it doesn't actually work because really what we want to do is show it as configured. And so this one, the one that's rotating along the y-axis, around the y-axis, um, this one is configured to show up in the second spot. So if we go to, can I get to, I wonder if I can hit back all the way to data entities. Yeah. See, if we look at this second one, this ST render ID 9. Oh no, I don't have it in here. I guess we have this ST visualization. So the ST visualization has to exist. We do not create an ST visualization until the visualization gets generated. So when I add a new one in here, I don't get a visualization, an ST visualization. It just creates all the base things. You have to actually go to the page. You actually have to go and look at a visualization in any place for it to create one of these. But see, this visualization is configured to show up at 200 and 0. So when we look over here, you see that it's 200 over and 0 up. But then when we come in here, see, this is the one that's rotating along the y-axis. And like, I just want to make it clear, like, it's that there's nothing natural about what I just did. Me just be able to just look at it and see that it's rotating along the y-axis. It's just experience from my short ThreeJS videos where I manipulate where it's rotating all the time. And so now it's just so simple and so easy to say. Those words are just so comfy. Um, but it doesn't always work that way. It wasn't always that way. Even probably like 3 months ago or 4 months ago, probably wasn't that way for me. And it just comes. It just comes. I don't know why. It just happens. And where you just things become really easy to speak about. But anyways, that one was supposed the one that's going along the y-axis is supposed to be over here at 200, but it's not. So I'm going to right click on this and inspect. All right, so this little app is very curious on why it's so wide. So this, oh, okay, oh, it's just, I guess it's weird. It's that its width, that its height is constrained, but its width isn't. That's weird to me. I don't really quite understand what's causing. Well, okay. So this app layout viewer has a height constraint. So I'm guessing that this guy here would be, oh, here. All right. So this guy looks like he's right. I don't know if I don't know if that's a problem or not. Let's go look at another view. Um, See, they're not constrained here. I mean, they are constrained here for some reason, but they're only constrained by their position. So the app, and that was actually another question I wanted is like, is it this one that I need to set the left and right, or this one? And it looks like it's the app viz that I need to set to the left and top, and it looks like we directly we do it like as a style, an inline style. So I need to figure out how this inline style gets set. And there's nothing really obvious in the HTML that gives me any indication of how that's getting set. Um, if I remember correctly, I think it might be in the um, animator. And if that is the case, this is going to be kind of tricky because um, the animator, I don't really want the animator to know about edit, like to be like, oh, am I in edit mode? I would rather it just show wherever it's told to show, but I I don't want to accidentally leak the edit data information into the rest of the application. So we have edit information. I'm just thinking out loud here. We have edit information. We got this is for editing, right? And we are at this point, the width and the height here, like I don't know, it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, it's 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 a signal that gets passed to the app update. But okay, anyways, so that's that. I don't know exactly how that gets set though. So it's a big mess. It's a big mess in my head, right? Because like most of the information that we have is very structured and we know exactly where it is and what it's doing. This one is kind of weird because I don't know exactly how that gets set. Um, but I'm pretty sure it gets set based on something. Is it in the renderer? Okay, so this guy, it does not get set. And I think, oh, that's right. That's right. Because I don't think we want, and I might be wrong here, but I don't think we want um, anything that's ST related to know anything about Angular. I think that's yeah, like the ST side of the world, literally just its whole world is inside of the box, not outside of the box. So not the box itself. Ugh. So maybe it's no. So we have our three stuff. Is in our layout, visualization, ST visualization. Yes. All right, so it's in this layout, which I think makes sense. It's kind of weird though, because this feels like a bit of a duplication. Like we have our ST, but I guess we're saying it is the ST height. And yeah, I have a bit of a conceptual collision here, because we have this concept called ST. Oh no, okay. Oh, this is the ST layout. Okay, so that makes sense to me now. And I guess, oh yeah, that does make sense. It it does need its own width and height. I remember because we might want like the visualization to be smaller than the div that it's inside of. So this is like the div, and then this is like the visualization. Now that's weird, right? Because we actually do have a I feel like I should put a comment here. It says like this is the viz width, visualization. No, this is the 3JS visualization width. And like so many things like this are like it just happens organically. You get these like really these. This is like some sort of like verbal vocabulary collision that we just discovered. because we have an st width, which is going to be the ThreeJS visualization width, right? Then we have another thing called st width here, but this is the div that the visualization is inside of. I think. I think that's what this is supposed to be. And so does the render? I don't think the renderer has a left and a top, right? Yeah, see, the renderer itself doesn't have a left or a top because it doesn't need to know. So I feel like this was a very bad architectural decision here, but it's like not really horrible. Definitely see worse every single day, but the name having these two attributes be the same name is sort of a sign that we might have made a really is overstated, but we might have made a bad decision. So this is the div width, and I don't even know if like to me there's a very high chance that these comments are won't make any sense, but we'll see in the future. I guess I should put it like this: not the renderer, ThreeJS viz width. So just to be clear, the reason I separated that out was because um, I can imagine a scenario where, see, and I have locked myself in here too. One of the problems is that a visualization could only have one renderer. We might want to change that to let's do this. Consider making this an array. And that way we could have one visualization that's like, let's say this, but we could have two different ThreeJS renderers. I definitely want visualizations to be able to stack, these ST visualizations to be able to stack on top of each other too. Um, but within the ST visualization, I could imagine myself wanting to like have like a title or something, or who knows, just there's just no telling what I might want in there. So I don't think I want to lock these to be the exact same width. So it's almost like I should make this ST, and I don't know why, but I feel like it should be called a div, or I feel like this should be div, but I'm not quite ready for it. But I am ready to see like how widespread the breaks are. So looks like this visualization service sets it. All right. Now, I guess that was very helpful actually to me. I know it may not seem like it, but it was extremely helpful to me because I think this is where we need to, and I need to remember this. This was a very good. This was actually a really good debugging technique that is new to. Okay, is I guess there was a whole bunch of them. This is a debugging situation that I've never used before, and it's really helpful. So, okay, so this is telling me where the problem it thinks problem, but so it's saying that in this visualization, so we're back here to the visualization service, which makes sense to me. So this thing, and see this whole hash string thing is actually quite humiliating, right? Because this it was a good example of um, like me not understanding the way memory works. And I did understand it. I actually truly understand it because I understood that, hey, you have these objects and sometimes they're like in a list, like in a dictionary, an object or something like a lookup, and sometimes they're in a um, sometimes they're just have a variable that they're pointing at. Like there's different ways. And for some reason I thought it was very expensive to change it and have it look at it, and that was just a terrible thing. But I found that like the harder things to are to learn, the more they stick. So that was quite the painful learning lesson. But anyways, so this is our visualization service, and then not necessary. If I just change the object, object pointer reference slash pointer. Reference is a word that's I guess it's just too big, I think. But anyways, but I already have that. So oh, and this is the thing to reset the hash. Um, okay, so here, okay, so we already, okay, so this is for actually figuring out when you create a new one where it's supposed to go to by default. Mm, I don't know. That's, I think, okay, so this does not look like the right place to update that. Let's go to the top actually. Okay, so this is our visualization service. Our visualization service, we figured out that our, okay, so that's not right, right? Because it's our visualization is like a three visualization, not div. So I don't think, I think what we're looking, what where we want to find this ended up being so much harder than I was expecting. Um, okay, so it's the render, no, no, it is the visualization. Okay, actually it is a visualization service. Okay, so this is the ThreeJS visualization, or this is the visualization service is really just describes, all of this describes the div container that contains the ThreeJS visualization. So the container that contains it knows where it's supposed to go to the left and right. So I think the thing that is why things keep getting gummed up in my mind is because visualization is sort of a very, very closely related to renderer, right? Like, so, um, but I think visualization is the right word. Okay, so now, how does it know where to set this? Okay, so create a visualization. And see, it gets like a viz component. And I believe the viz component is where it gets set. So like the thing that is like really weird to me. Okay, A, I still don't haven't figured out how the heck this left gets set. And I guess I'm like I'm avoiding it like the plague right now, but let's look at animation because I think this must be probably where it happens. Let's see if there's a left, control left, dot left. Oh, okay. Does maybe the component itself knows how to set its component, viz component? Because if I remember correctly, okay, and we need to get out of interfaces. Let's go ahead and get out of services. I remember we were pushing in like the width and the height, but I didn't think we were pushing in the left and the right. So let's go to app update layout editor. I thought there was a viewer. Yeah, viewer. So if the renderer ID is greater, see, all we do is set the width and the height. So it does not, I don't think it has direct access to that. Holy cow, I cannot believe how hard this is to find. All right, so then is it maybe the layout viewer itself knows where to put it? I don't think so. It wouldn't surprise me though. I think that makes sense. So we are in components now. Let's go into our app layout editor. Yeah, see, he doesn't. Oh, this is the editor part. See, app. We want the actual app layout control component. This guy here. All right, so okay, so there is a direct reference to the visualization. There was nothing in the um, there was nothing in the in here. There was nothing inside the component itself that showed where it is. So now let's look in here. Okay, up here, I think we probably get a reference to it. So that's viewer view. Do we set the width and height there? 7 months ago, video 356 was the last time I touched this thing. Publish visualization dimensions. Okay, so this actually gets a reference to it and publishes it. Huh. And it gives it the native element. Okay, so actually it calls that, it doesn't, it calls the thing to publish. So let's go to that, go to definition. Component. The thing that I really like, I'm just like is bouncing around my head right now is like, I do not want to change the base information of the base description, which I won't be. Actually, I want to use the actual base. I'm just not using the base. Yeah, actually, yeah, the thing I've been absolutely terrified of is actually silly. I guess what I need to do is like, okay, so in the custom layout is where it gets laid out properly, right? So let's see how we do it over there. Because now to me it seems like, okay, so yeah, so it looks like this thing just renders and something when it gets rendered just gets fired off. Apparently, let's see what's in here. Let's see if there's anything about effect, st renders, update visualization layout with the viz count. It gives it a reference to the viz service and it gives it the component service. So that's how it knows where to render. So if I can reuse this, that would be great. But it will, whoever calls this needs to be able to get a reference to the visualization service and the component service, which I think should be fine. No, this thing apparently calculates it. Which I guess, I don't know. Okay, let's go look in here. Oh, okay, so oh yeah, here's where it happens. Set position for viz, and it needs the access to the component itself, which I believe we have, and it needs ST visualization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comment here because I believe, actually, let's just go ahead and just comment this out. Let's just double check that it works the way I think it works, because that's the absolute worst. It's when you're like, okay, and this is how it works, and then you go to do it, and then you're like, okay, good. So that is where it happens for this guy. So we gotta, hopefully we can just reuse this function. Um, that way that if there's some sort of tweak, it happens for both of them. We may not be able to, but this is where the left position, the top and left, are set. All right. So that's where that happens. And we need to get a instance of the component, which I don't think is going to be a problem. And we need to get an instance of the visualization. And then we need to also get this class, which is pretty cool. So this is a class, so this is super simple to get an instance of. We don't have to worry about any sort of um, cyclic redundancy errors or anything like that. But so so here we are. This is probably the end, right? This is the part where it happens. And when I started, we were at sort of the beginning this morning when I first started. And so let me just sort of clean things up. Okay, so we know we probably don't want this app layout component anymore. App layout viewer component. So this guy, I think, yeah, this actually has access to the actual component. So I can actually get a reference to the component from here. This just needs the component. It doesn't care where it came from, how it's referenced, or whatever. It just wants a reference to the component. ST visualization. Okay, I don't think we want the app layout service anymore. We don't want. I think what's happening right now is probably one of the most critical parts of the coding, being a successful coder, is like figuring out what all the little pieces are in your head and then uh, figuring out which pieces to get rid of, to not think about anymore. Like, I don't think we need the renderer anymore. I don't think we might need the visualization, ST visualization. I think that's just the interface. Okay, we could probably use that. That's a good reference. Visualization service. This is what we need though, right? The visualization service. ST visualization. No. Oh, okay. All we need is the visualization itself, not the service. So this is going to get nasty when, and I don't know what to do about it, but when we get into the Zoom part, um, but it's not even going to be anywhere in this, but we actually have to alter the object. And so I don't know if hopefully we pass it in like this. I hope that that's what we do because then it just takes, it doesn't care. We will just create a new object and give it the new object and just say, leave that other object alone, ignore the other object because the other object will have the actual configured zoom of the camera. I believe there's a zoom on the camera. I could be wrong. I think it's in the camera though. Okay, so we're going to need the visualization service because that's where we're going to get our visualization. And we have the visualization ID. What is this one? Okay, so this is a working tree, so I'm just going to get rid of that. That's one of the things you get from over here when if you click on this and it shows you the before and after. All right, so this is the one we want. We want ST, and we want it from this class, Viz component layout class. And we want to do the D update settings. So that's CS. Okay, let's get rid of that. All right. Visualization service, ST visualization service. Okay, so now we got to go back to our whatever. Okay, so if I remember correctly, there's a signal, and that signal says that this button was clicked and what the new value is. That's basically what the signal indicates. You kind of have to, I guess you're inferring that it's clicked because I guess it could get fired other ways, but, and then so we need to listen to that signal somewhere. And, and then if we've listened to that signal, something needs to handle calling that function that's in the Viz component layout class from that signal. And all of that is going to happen in the app update components local service. And I cannot believe it's crazy that I remember that. So here's our components, right? Are we in our components? Yeah, we're in comment and we're in our layouts and we have our app update layout. And our app update layout has a viewer. We don't care about that. It has its own set of services, but there's only one service in there. And we have, this is going to be my first one. I'm just deleting this unit test. Yeah, that's the first one. God, I worked so hard on unit tests on this project. All right, so here in this service, I think there is is there an effect in here? Is that how I do that? Navigation, publish, edit. So this effect happens anytime the router changes. Oh, okay. Here's our toggle presentation mode. Publish the signal. Return this presentation mode. Okay. So when this happens, it's saying I'm publishing this thing, right? I get a reference to the actual presentation mode signal. Oh, and then here's where I set it. So at some point I'm listening for this presentation mode signal. I don't know where. So we're going to search for that. Okay, so here's where we pass it in, I think, for our width and height, right? Oh no, this is for the, okay, this is in the toolbar, it's listening. Okay, this we're just returning it, that's our toggle. And then looks like this get edit dimensions is where we actually get the width and the height that you're supposed to use. So, and oh, I guess we need to set the left. I think, do we already have, we must have access to the renderer, right? All right. So this is saying that if it's we're using the configured, then you're going to use one from the ST renderer. So I think we have the renderer. Okay, so that is fascinating because, and this is where it gets so crazy confusing because we're actually going to get the ST width or this ST left and ST left and the ST um oh man, this is going to get really, really confusing. Um okay, so now, so this came from the renderer, right? Okay, so these come from the renderer. But this is going to come from the visualization. And what gets really confusing is there is actually an ST width and an ST height in visualization too. So one of them is the surrounding div, and the other is the actual ThreeJS canvas. And I'm just saying that over and over again because it's so this if those two concepts get merged in my head, it's going to be so difficult for me to unmerge them. So um, these come from the visualization. So in the future, I may very well want the left. Oh, it doesn't have, okay, so this doesn't have a left. The renderer doesn't have a left and a right, but the visualization does have, I mean, doesn't have, but the visualization does have a width and a height. So left. Let left equals 0. We're just going to default them to 0. Let height. I feel like actually it's going to pay off for me to not name that left and height, but and it's not height, it's top. To name this visualization. And then visualization top. Because there is going to be, and really since this is nice and local, and that is probably one of the greatest things about things being um, local, like having these local things, is that you know the impact of them. All right, so this is not the, I mean, you know, like the scope. It's really easy to tell the scope. The scope of this is from line 196 to line 188. So like the number of things that you have to consider when you're doing stuff in a primitive reference is like minuscule. Like you have to start worrying about a lot of other things that makes things a lot more complicated. But so our width is for our visual, that's our visualization. This is our, um, I'm having a hard time remembering this. Okay, there's visualization and then there's renderer. And it's just like one of the things that's really weird to sort of contemplate is that um, like you can overname things. Like you can make it to where like you're naming things and it's just like you're actually costing yourself cognitive load because um like hey, I'm in the renderer. Obviously it's renderer width. Why do I keep saying this over and over again? Why do I have to type all this out? And it is possible. It is possible that like hey, to solve the problems that I need to solve, I do not need this much word. But then sometimes if you don't have enough word, if everything's list array item, like everything's vague and generic, then you just don't have enough word. Your word is too like it's not full enough. Oh, let's take care of this render width. And to me, that is probably the most difficult thing. And I always wondered, like, because I've seen this pattern where, like, you get all these juniors and they name everything. They just go crazy with the naming, and you see all this naming. And then sometimes the names can become very, like, misleading because if they don't have the discipline to update um, like as they start to like really name things in a very very specific way with juniors and they're just naming the heck out of everything and then sort of the underlying world changes under them, they don't tend to go back and rename everything so that it fits in. So then they have all these names that are sort of out of sync with what it actually is, and then they go, and I think that's what leads them to the, you know what, this is stupid. Every time I turn around, I have to recode everything. I have to write all this new update, all this code just for these stupid names. I'm just going to make all the names generic. And then they do that, and that is like one of those things that it it's like a cascading thing. Like you get it gets like you're fine. You if you generically name one thing, you're fine. Two things, you're fine. Three things, you're fine. Like your problems are zero. Four things, your problems are zero. And then one day you hit a specific number. I don't know what it is. I mean, you hit a number, and then all of a sudden you go from zero problems to 1,000 problems. It's just like it starts off as this tiny little nothing monster that's actually kind of cute and funny to this absolutely undefeatable dragon in a snap. It is so wild. Um, but anyways, okay, so now this isn't left. This is visualization left. That's right. And then see, and it's like I've been doing this so long that I actually um like I'll fill something and I'll be like, oh no, this is gonna be a real bad filling. Okay, so we have the renderer service, but we don't have, I don't know, we may have the visualization service already. Let's see, where did we bring in our service? I don't think so though. Yeah, because yeah, we just brought this one. So this should be fine. We should be able to pull this in because neither the render service or the um, visualization service should ever, ever pull this service. And not only that, but I don't even think they can because this is a locally scoped service, which basically I sacrificed all my unit tests to be able to do this, but I think that was the right move. Um, ST visualization service. The visualization service equals inject. ST visualization service. And click this guy. Okay, did I misspell it? Or is it just visualization service? Could have sworn it was ST visualization. Well, so usually if it's just visualization service, then that means it's a ThreeJS thing. I want the ST visualization service. Entities, services, and then, oh, that's right, because there is no visualization concept in ThreeJS. Oh, wait, is this it right here? Okay, it was visualization service. I really wish I'd have named that ST visualization service. And yeah, this is definitely the right one because it keeps ST visualizations. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. That, oh, yeah. See, that keeps biting me. It keeps biting me over and over again um because I didn't name it. And I think I originally had this separated ST out. It was like different. I didn't consider this an ST. I'm going to name it ST visualization service. I could choose my poison, right? I have two poisons here. One is it's less confusing if these are the exact same name. So this is more confusing because it's not the same name, um, but it's very close. But the other poison is here, where it's I think I can come to grips with this little disconnect here. The other poison would be down here, right? Because generally when I do something that's from ST, it's called ST. And this is ST, but for some reason, probably just because of the way evolution happened with that, I didn't call it ST. So now, but here I've kind of made up for it. And so, what I want is to get the get ST visualizations. Is it really ST visualizations? I don't have a visualization by ID. That's weird that I don't have a visualization. That is weird. Um, if I don't have one, I need one. I need to create a function that says get me the visualization by ID, but I also need to get the visualization. I believe the renderer, what I have is the renderer ID, and I have the renderer, and I believe the renderer does have has the visualization ID. So I believe I can say const st visualization ID is equal to st renderer dot. I was wrong. The renderer is below the visualization, so it has no idea. The visualization has a render ID, so let's go look at that. So let's go back to our interfaces. Go to ST3 render. Yeah, see, he doesn't have that, but our visualization, which I think falls under layout now, visualization. See, it has a render ID, and it is not required. So we have to go to the visualization service. So we have the visualization service too. And see, we have a get visualizations, which will return all the visualizations. Usually what I have is I'll have like a get visualizations, and then I'll have like a get visualization by ID that uses this function. But we don't. Okay, so, and I guess at this point, nothing has needed to get the visualization by ID, but so we're going to get, and then so our problem, our problem is here is that we know get st. We actually don't know the visualization ID. That's what we need. That's what we're trying to get. Ugh. So get st visualization. Fortunately, this should not be hard. I'm probably misspelling that. And like, if you think of things in like that movie, that Leo DiCaprio movie, Inception, like we have just got incepted deeper into the core of this thing, and it is wild that we don't actually have a get visualization, and it's usually by STID, but we want the visualization by renderer ID, right? So ST renders, not renders, we want it by, okay, this is the ThreeJS renderer. All right, I'm in the wrong place. Oh, it's not. Yeah, I'm in the wrong one. I want to be in visualizations. And like I am like really thinking hard about like how confusing this is. It's very, very confusing. So this guy has a visualization ID and it has a renderer ID. That's right. We were just looking at this. So we actually want to get the visualization by renderer ID. Get visual. Yeah. Oh, which is exactly what I had there. And it's going to return an ST visualization. I guess, or null. And then, and then we are going to get get ST visualizations. And this is like one of those times, like I just did it again, where I'm like, man, I really wish I still had unit tests, um, because that would have been like the perfect. Like I could just kick the can down the road, say, okay, I don't need to make this super clean code right now because during the unit test time, will be the time to really, really take a good hard look at this stuff. Um, but we're not going to have that. So, um, oh, and this is going to get a number. It's going to get the renderer ID, which is a number. I really thought this was going to be a lot easier than it is. visualizations. All right, so here we'll get all our visualizations, and then we're going to return. I just don't like writing code that way. So const visualization st visualization, and then is of type st visualization or null, I think, equals null. And then, and actually, I think we can just do this. We could say this dot get st visualizations, visualizations, and dot. And I guess we want to just do a find. So that's one way to do it, right? That's probably really. Oh, is it just upset that I didn't give it a function? No. It's gonna. I think this is gonna say that it is gonna return. What is it? Okay, that's weird. Dot. Okay, wait. Is that? Oh, okay, so it's supposed to return. Okay, so that's not even. I don't think that's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Oh no, that is an array. I don't understand that. So it's saying that this st get visualizations should get that. Okay, I'm just gonna. I find that error up there a bit return st visualization a bit distracting. All right, so let's get the distraction out of the way. All right, so st visualization. What is your problem, dude? So I'm trying to figure out why. Dot. Okay, that was it. I guess I was doing the wrong one. All right, so I'm just going to do this like the oldest, most ancient way that like a lot of kids just don't see anymore. So I'm just going to do this old school just to do it. Okay, let I equals 0. Okay, so we set this to 0, right? This is the initial counter. We're setting it to 0, and we're saying, I want you to go over this every time until that the length is 0. So until the I is while this is like while I is less than, and I actually um, and I plus plus. So this is the oldest, most, as far as I remember, the very first for loop. And basically you set a variable, you say, do that, you pass it in three things. You pass it in one thing, but they're separated by semicolons. So this looks really weird. I can't imagine, it doesn't look weird to me because I've seen it so many times, but I can imagine. It seems like this should be more like for comma or something like that. 0. Like it seems like we should be calling a function or something if we're going to have it inside of, but that's just a holdover. That's just the way it works. And then one of the things that was nice about this is you could say break, right? And then you could break out of the loop. And that was, to me, like something that people used to always be very, very fixated on. And now we can say And honestly, the biggest reason I'm doing this is because doing it this way is because it's so darn hard to write unit tests for the other way, but then you at least know you covered it. Weird little bugs get slid in with the when you're using the array, array functions. But we're going to say that if so basically there's two conditions, right? But we only care about one, and we want to find the one that is at get visualization position I, and that's this I here. So it'll go from 0, 1, 2, 3 until it gets to the end, dot, and then we want st renderer ID equals renderer ID. So if we find that, we want to do two things. First, we want to take our st visualization and we want to assign it this value. We want to give st visualization, we're not assigning it a value. We're giving it a reference to that value, to whatever that object is. And of course it's like, dude, that was, see, const just makes it where you cannot change the reference. I am attempting to change the reference here, so you cannot change it. Now, if I made it const and assigned it directly, then I could tweak the stuff inside of it, but I can't change it and then break. So it's like just run it until you find it and leave. Now I like this a lot because it's like very clear what's happening. And then otherwise, when you get here, just go back to the beginning. So, and I just want to make sure I could still do it. And it was actually harder than I thought. I used to be able to do that like just without even thinking twice. And so now we're going to return the visualization if we find it, and that this function should work now. We don't know though. So all we can do is just go try it and see if we get the visualization we want. All right, so that rabbit hole is over, hopefully. We might be back to it here in a second. So are we back to the layout surface? Is that, yeah, this is where, and we want to get the renderer ID, and we need to get that from the visualization service. So we want the visualization const. And I'm going to call it an st visualization, since that's what it is. And it is I believe it's an st visualization. Or it might be null. And then we want to do this dot st visualization service dot get visualization by render ID. So we have a get by render ID, but not a get by ID, which is hilarious. And that is the renderer ID we want to get. Okay. Confused, we need the st visualization. Configured, we need the st visualization ID. Okay, so at this point, I want to just look to see if we actually do in fact get the visualization ID. I would say this is 10 times more difficult and 10 times more rewarding than what I was expecting. I really did think I was just gonna knock this right out. Okay, so, oh, wow, look at that. This is where the width and height are set. All right, so now, good job. I can't believe I didn't. Okay, so we should not get to this breakpoint when we go back. Okay, and then when we go in here, yep, here we are. And do we have our visualization? Yep. And so now we have our left is 0 and our top is 1. So I just want to do one other test. And that is go over here Add a new visualization. Go here. Yaw. Update this. Okay, so actually I didn't think it was going to remember, but it will. Yeah, it's going to persist, which I think is fine. I think either way is fine. Whether it persists or you have to redo it again is fine. Yeah, see, so now we have the left and the height, right? So that is good. But it is possible that we would get, I don't know how, but we can return a null from that. So it is, whoa, how crazy is that? Oh, it's probably because of the break. Sometimes the breakpoints will actually change the way things render. Oh, no, it's right now. But it could be a null. If it is a null, then we want to leave it at 0, 0. And if there was no visualization, which I don't even think that's possible, like how the heck would we actually have one without having one? Because we are looking at one. So, um, and this is a really good example of something I probably would not do if I was doing unit tests because, you know, I'd rather just call a function and pass it in a visualization and then get the width and the height back. It would just be much easier to unit test um, if visualization is not equal to null. So if it's not equal to null, then we're going to update this. All right, bye-bye. Visualization left is equal to st visualization left dot st left and top is equal to st visualization dot st top. And this code is very confusing, and I can't think of a good way to not do this. Now, I don't think we're actually, so we do, okay, I don't think we want any of this. Oh, okay. So all this does is get the visualization. All it does is get the dimensions. So this function actually is very, very susceptible to bloat, right? Because as the different modes and different things come up, these different dimensions and things like that. And I don't even know if they'll be called dimensions. It's probably like actually it should probably be edit configurations or something like that. Um, but we're gonna have to. It's this one is gonna want. It's already kind of big, right? It's already 100 goes from 155 to it's already like 30 lines of code, um, 35 lines of code. So like, although look at this, we got a ton of white space. And then I don't think this comment is doing us any good. I think that's fine. It's not quite as professional as I'd like it to be, but it's fine. All right, so 100, we go to 189 and we start at 155. Wait, didn't we just delete? Maybe I'm skipping. No, goes to 189. All right. I guess I don't know. I don't know what happened. I could have sworn we just got rid of a bunch of. Does that get smaller? Okay, what? Oh yeah, no, it went to. Okay, so it's 188 now, which makes sense. I don't know why. That is weird. All right. So, anyways, we get the dimensions and then we publish it and then we listen for it. And then something has to, oh, there's a class, right? There's a class. And if we have the class, then it, yeah, oh, we just want to call it, but we need to give it. Actually, I think all it needs is the visualization. All this stuff might not even be necessary. I mean, I think it's necessary because like we need a single place where we can look and see what all this is, but I don't know that it's necessary to actually update it because there's like a class that we had, this viz component layout class. Okay, so do we have this one? I don't know if we have an instance of this class in our, but if we have an instance of the class, then I believe there's a function in this class that we can use. Now this is a like a, a, a object that has attributes and functions to do things. And it's not shared. It's not a singleton. Every if you want to use it, you have to create one and then you can use yours and you can't change anybody else's. You can't even have access to anybody else's, which is really nice because like a lot like there's this concept called eager what are they called? Dependencies. Eager dependency resolution. Eager dependency resolution. And because Angular does eager dependency resolution, sometimes you can get into some really difficult to deal with um, situations that I wouldn't call them bugs. They're just like things you just can't do in Angular. In Angular, you cannot, two services cannot both include each other because of this eager resolution, dependency resolution. All right, so now we're in our visualization service, right? This is where we're now. This is class. We need this, and we need this class in our update layout service. And then, oh, and we don't ever do that anywhere. So I think I'll do that as the last one. I was just trying to find where I inject classes, but I actually haven't injected any classes. So it's going to be a this, and then you're gonna, I like to strongly type it, so I'll strongly type it this way, and then you say equals new, and as opposed to injecting it or adding it as a reference. So now this is my class. I can change this class. I can do whatever I want with this class. It doesn't matter. Nothing else outside of this service can have access to my class unless I expose it. And I guess it would probably make sense to make this a private, at least private read only. So now nobody can get to it. Even I don't even think the template can get to it at this point. Um, and I think that makes unit testing much more difficult when you have these private things. So I'm glad that I don't need that. All right, so now I think at this point we can call it. And that what that oh we do not want to call it there. So this gets it. So that would clearly be a classic side effect. We do not want to do a side effect. When you have a getter, you do not want to be setting things. Um, and then this is the publisher, and you really don't want to do that kind of thing in publish. And the way I did that was I said, so all I want to do is publish. All I want to do is publish here. And then I need something else that's going to listen. So, um, and I guess that would be in this service. This would be the service that would update it. Okay, so this is so weird though, because, okay, so we're going to be publishing this thing. Okay, okay, and I had went down this path of creating signals for each thing. So I guess I want to set the top and the that other thing. And then I guess we want to listen for those in here. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, so one we need to uh, create new signals. So I believe we could have just in that get edit, we could just call that class and have it set, give it the renderer, and it would just do it. It would just fix it. This would be, it's already confused. This code's already confusing enough. I can't even imagine how confusing that would be if you're like, okay, I don't understand where this is happening. Wait, oh, get dimensions. Wait, get dimensions is setting the top. Yeah, that would be so confusing. Create signals for top and left. All right, we got to do that. Two. We need to listen those signals in this service. Three. We need to use, let's go, component layout class. I think it was right at the end here where we set the left in the, and I love the way I did this. Sometimes you have to pat yourself on the back. This is such a good way to do this. To have this in a static, not a static class, but a class that is just like a utility. Oh, that's so nice. Let's see. Yeah, that's exactly. We need to do it in there. Um, okay, three. Oh, okay, I have that there. This service. So it is weird because we're going to be calling publish visual dimensions. I think we actually call it directly though, and then up will have an effect that listens for that, and and then updates things accordingly. So, anyways, yeah, this was way harder than I expected it to be, but I think that it's going to make it much easier to do like Zoom, because we've already we kind of had to make some. We have a pretty decent sized architecture here, and we had to make some very subtle changes within that architecture. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.